Hello, this is Vincent. Who am I speaking?
Oh, hey Vin, it's Gage.
Gage, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. If you could call back in like an hour or...
Oh, what you up to?
Well, if you must know, I'm doing my daily hour of reading.
That's great. You know, I've always said you can never find a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me.
I have never heard you say that, nor do I believe that you have ever said it.
Oh, come on now. You know I've always been passionate about the joys of reading.
Oh, yeah?
Well, what's your favorite book?
Oh, Captain Underpants.
Captain Underpants. The children's book with pictures.
The children's chapter book with pictures.
Gage, what did you want again?
Oh, hey, what's up, dude?
Goodbye, Gage.
In grade school, there was 3 book series that actually mattered. Harry Potter, Lemony Snicket books, and Captain Underpants. Those books actually made you want to read. Actually read! Do you know how boring reading is when you were a kid? Let me put it in context for you. So now you can read. Congratulations.
You can now watch foreign films.
And school goes, all right, now read a book. And you go, okay, and you pick your favorite book. And they go, no, this specific book. And you go, but this book does not interest me. Plus, there are no illustrations. And school goes, well, too bad. You're going to have to read it and do a report on it, or else we're going to make you redo this grade, and you're going to have to report on another book you don't want to read. So, yeah, I don't know too many kids that were too keen on reading, especially when there are great alternatives like going outside and playing with friends, eating hamburgers, and playing video games. Keep in mind, this was also the late 90s, early 2000s. This was before the internet was any good. If I was a kid nowadays, I would never read, because you can be on the phone and the internet at the same time. In fact, you can be on the internet on your phone. That's flippin' fantastic. How do kids even reading? More like, don't even come near me, Mom, because I'm going to beat Candy Crush. And even though there's books about orphan mysteries and orphans who are really smart and orphan wizards, there was one series that always drew me back in. Let me back up a little bit. David Pilkey was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1966, and he was very disruptive during grade school with his desire to make his classmates laugh. This didn't stop his teacher from banishing him to the outside hallway, even though he had ADHD and dyslexia. In this hallway, created the character that is known as Captain Underpants to share with his class. And his teacher did not appreciate this and told him he can't spend the rest of his life making silly books. Dave now makes his living making silly books. I learned all of this from a pamphlet that Dav Pilkey sent to me in 2003 when I wrote to him. That's right, I like the Captain Underpants books so much that I wrote to Dav Pilkey. Do you know how much I hated writing? In 3rd grade, we were supposed to write an essay of at least 5 paragraphs on what we did on our summer vacation. I just wrote nothing across there and turned that in. So for me to actually write to an author was an act of God that moved both land and sea, and to get something in return was really cool. So, Captain Underpants was first published in 1997 and spawned 11 sequels. And it didn't really appear on my radar till I moved from Catholic school to public school. And let me tell you what, it was quite a shock to see a book called Captain Underpants. What is this book? It has a fat man in his underwear and a red cape, neglecting children in peril. I tell you what, this is not Boxcar Children as the one I am familiar with. Growing up with Spider-Man and Fantastic Four comics, these books were made for me, because apparently comic books don't qualify for a book report. They even have the little blurbs, like on comics, to make you buy the books. Action? Yeah, I like James Bond and Jackie Chan. Give me some of that action. Thrills? Who doesn't like thrills? Thrills paid the bills, as they say. Oh, shoot. And laughs. First of all, I love laughing. Every kid loves to laugh. And second of all, that's not how you spell laughs. That's 2 F's. There are 0 F's in laughs. Like, get a new editor, Captain Underpants. You're a published book. Oh my god, you're so crazy to publish that. You gotta use the spell check feature in Word doc. As I read these books, I realized that George Beard and Harold Hutchins were very relatable characters to me. George Beard is the kid on the left with the necktie and flat top, and Harold is the kid on the right with the t-shirt and bad haircut. Remember that now. George and Harold were very nice kids and wanted to make people around them laugh, just like me. But sometimes that desire to make people laugh got them in trouble. Well, them/me. But, you know, that's how the adventure begins. You know, that's a little what we call an inciting incident in the book business. I'm in the business of books now. You're probably reading this. These books were telling kids to laugh at things such as underwear, toilets, and of course characters with names like Professor Pippy Pete Poopy Pants. These books had action. They had fliporama, where you flip 2 pages together to make it seem like one cohesive movement, and sometimes you rip the pages, but that's okay. Just put it back on the shelf. Don't tell your teacher. And they also told you that adults can be mean and grumpy. And some adults didn't really care for this message. In fact, they tried to ban the books, even though that kind of plays into the mean and grumpy stereotype. And in fact, Captain Underpants was on the top 10 most challenged books list in the years 2002, 2004, 2005, 2012, 2013, and 2018. But as we all know, if you're a kid and someone says you can't have that certain thing, chances are that thing is probably really, really cool. Some examples include The Matrix, songs with bad words, and of course, toilet humor. And guess what? Pilkey.com wasn't blocked by our school's firewall. So guess what I did during technology education? I'll give you a hint. I wasn't working on my typing skills. Eventually, they made a Captain Underpants movie, which I think perfectly encapsulated the spirit of the books. It was a story about being a kid and fighting against a world that seemingly did not want anything to do with fun. And I thought they had some really cool creative decisions in there, like a sock puppet hypothetical, a theme song by Weird Al. They even incorporated Fliporama in a really cool way.
Oh, no!
Big props to Mr. Nicholas Stoller, who wrote the screenplay. He also directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He wrote the 2011 Muppets movie with Jason Segel. He took elements from all first 4 books and put them together. And not a lot of screenwriters can really do that. I mean, look at the Lemony Snicket movies from the early 2000s. Combine the first 3 books, and I didn't like it. I'm sorry, Mr. Snicket, but you should talk to Netflix or something.
He did talk to Netflix.
Oh, so I love Captain Underpants, but why should you care? Well, Captain Underpants not only made me love reading, but storytelling in general. I didn't know stories could be funny, insane, and slightly inappropriate. Those books made me want to write, draw, and make stories that adults roll their eyes to. I also say that Captain Underpants gave me my love for alliterations. Now that's a cool little factoid right there, or as I like to call it, a groovy Gage gunk of genius. And so, I want to close this video out by saying thank you to Dav Pilkey. Thank you for making a character that I think is funny and educational, and is just really, really cool overall. He was faster than a speeding waistband, more powerful than boxer shorts, and able to leap tall buildings without getting a wedgie. Thank you, Dave Pilkey. You made a character that's very inspiring, that's fight for truth, justice, and all that is pre-shunk and cottony. And that inspired me to write, imagine, and think. And I think that's something to be really, really proud of. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this Gauge Your Interest, make sure to like and subscribe for more, or go to my Patreon page and help me out there. It really helps the program, and it helps me get these things out a little bit faster. If you want to see more Gauge Your Interest, click right here. If you want to see my last video, click right here. And please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to go drink some more coffee because this is keeping me up way too late.